Hello, my name is Nicholas Lack. I'm the consultant for the RMCH Obstetric Quality Assurance Project in Nigeria, and I want to talk about data entry and data output and how to use the data on the NOQA-Network platform to the best of all our advantage. For this purpose, I need to share my screen, which I shall do now, and enter a PowerPoint presentation, which you should see now. As you can tell, I live in Germany, near Munich, a large city which is known for its football players, amongst others. To begin with, there's no need for you to take any notes because everything has been prepared for you on the NOQA-Network platform. There is a heading called News, and here you will find a presentation of what I'm saying today as a PDF, and you will also find what is called a compliance monitor, also as a PDF. I will show you both, and you can find them both again and look at them in your own time. They give a lot more information than what I'm saying right now. In addition to that, everything that you will see now and hear now will be recorded as a video and can be found here. Let's begin. This should be no big news to you. You've seen this before, maybe not in this detail, but depending on whether you are a medical record officer or a state statistician, you will have either more or less of these options available on your platform. Obstetric quality assurance will only work if hospitals are there and if they are suitably equipped, and it will only work if the public is made aware through community dialogues, for instance, of all the options available in maternal child health, and it will only work if deaths are reviewed, and it will only work if we know what the outcome is. And that's why we have all these different modules to access. And depending on whether you're a medical record officer, a monitoring and evaluation officer, or whether you're a state statistician charged with additional supervisory duties, you will have either more or less access to these modules. Let's look at what you have done so far. And with you, I mean medical record officers in the hospitals, monitoring and evaluation officers in the local government areas, as well as health management information system officers or state statisticians at state level. For this purpose, we have compiled compliance monitors, and again, it should be no surprise to you that this is also found on the network under News. Let's look at the Southwest region. Here we have a PDF file. You just click on it and you write in the file, and it says here Southwest Zone. Just to check, we'll begin going directly to the medical record officer's compliance, and this calculated on the basis of a score, the details of which are outlined here. It suffices to say at the moment that you can score as a medical record officer either 0, 25, 50, or the other percentages of compliance. And in this graph down here, we have detailed for you the distribution of reporting rates. This is reporting rates of medical record officers aggregated at local government area level by zone. And we can see for the North Central zone, we're below 20, Northeast, we're below 20, and you probably will have detected that your own zone heads the list and is highest with almost 30% in the mean as far as reporting rates are concerned. Now, let us look closer at the Southwestern region. The next slide shows you on a state-by-state comparison within the Southwestern region, the distribution of local government areas reporting rates for MROs for Ekiti State, Lagos State, and the other states. And we'll see that the target of 100% is in fact reached by Akoko Northeast. Akoko Northeast local government area is outstanding in its reporting rate. And I would like to emphasize that this is quite an outstanding achievement, and I'm pleased to see that. Akura South is the runner-up. The other side of the coin, however, is that All the other local government areas in the southwestern region at most achieve a reporting rate of 50%. Let's move on to your colleagues at the local government area level. They are responsible for 8 modules, and so they can gain different percentages beginning with 0 and then 12.5%. And this is what their reporting rates look like, again, on a zone by zone comparison. And now we see that the southwestern zone doesn't really stand out amongst the others as for the monitoring and as for the medical record officers. We also see that overall the reporting rates are lower for M&E officers than they are for MROs. And if we break it down again by individual local government areas within a state by state comparison, we can see that at most a reporting rate of 12.5% is achieved by M&E officers against a ceiling or a target of 100%. The situation does not get better if we look at state statisticians. Here we find no single zone where state statisticians are complying, as well as, by comparison, the medical record officers do their job. Let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation, which you should see now. I'll move on to the next slide. The point of this slide is to emphasize that data entry is only one part of the story. After data entry comes response. The response tracking, particularly when it concerns MPDSR, is illustrated here. We have responses for everything else as well, of course. In this case, the idea is that we don't work with the machine by punching numbers into the computer anymore. What we do is we use the MPDSR form 4, which lists over a particular period of time all the deaths that occurred, together with cause of death and any recommendations or responses or remarks contained. The cause of death in this case happens to be PPH, which is postpartum hemorrhage, and the recommendation in order to reduce postpartum hemorrhages is that more specific clinical and paraclinical training is required. If this has actually occurred and the response is positive, as indicated here, then we can be pleased with that and remark would be okay. How can you get involved in this as an MRO? Very simply, all you need to do is you need to access the website. You should see the website come up, and this gives a list of all the maternal deaths that have been entered for the State Specialist Hospital in Nakura, which is one example. And we can see by scrolling down that in 3 cases here, the review has been completed. And if I select the first review and go to page number 5 contains the cause of death, I will find postpartum hemorrhage. This postpartum hemorrhage is then the entry in this paper form. This is where we put pen to paper and actually do brain work. We can continue by going back to the list and select the next death review that was conducted, identify the cause of death, in this case, other pulmonary heart disease, go back to the form, and here we will be in a position to enter the second line. And once all these lines have been completed for the last month or the last quarter, then the MPDSR committees are in a better position to identify overall actions that are required in order to improve the mortality rate for mothers. Let's move on. We've come to the point where we realize that working with the network is more than just entering data using your fingers. If you do that, of course, we will be able to show differences between communities and hospitals, and we'll be able to see changes over time. This is the information available directly on the platform. But next, what is required is we need to use our brains in order to access this data and The first thing is generate an MCH report, which I'm sure all of you will have done by now, but you need to understand it. So read it carefully, read the legend, and try and understand it. Next, locate deficits in care. Find out which regions or which times, which hospitals are underperforming or where data is missing. Then, very important, so we don't waste any time, select the worst deficit and home in on the worst deficit. But this way, you can effect change more rapidly. Don't deal with side issues, but select the important issues first of all. And then act. Don't sit there and say, I found it, but act. Do something about it. Once you've acted, next check to see whether you were effective or not. Very important, because if you're not effective, then something went wrong. You're not alone in this. There are other institutions there, other processes going on that will help you. First of all, an internal liaison between different departments. That's the Department of Planning, Research and Statistics, the Department of Information, Communication and Technology, and the Department of Family Health at the Federal Ministry of Health. This liaison is about to start and will help you because it will provide the background for you to do your jobs better. Next, we are intending to include the platform on the website of the Federal Ministry of Health. We're also intending to boost the systems administration through training courses and additional staff. And finally, we're also intending to install and institutionalize the management of the Nigerian Obstetric Quality Assurance System at the Federal Ministry of Health. Further, regional review meetings are anticipated where data is analyzed, where results are compared, and ideas are generated for improving better intervention in the future. To give you security, to give you background and confidence, we suggest that the job descriptions of medical record officers, M&E officers, state statisticians, and a few other very important people are revised to make sure that obstetric quality assurance becomes part of their standard job. What will also help you is academic research papers indicating the effectiveness of the Obstetric Quality Assurance Network. And for all of you who are curious, just generate an advanced report, not the executive, but the advanced report, and look at the last sections. You will see that the obstetric quality assurance is in fact effective. The next point is that we're in the process of making quality assurance legal through what is called the MPDSR bill. Now, this is where you come in. What you can do to help yourself is keep up to date with data entry. Without data, we know nothing. So keep up to date. Next, use your reports to check how your peers perform. If you look at them carefully, you can see how well the hospitals in your local government area are doing. You can see that by comparison. You can compare yourself to the performance of the primary healthcare centers, for instance. Then, if you're at a loss, ask your peers for help. Don't just sit there. Ask other medical record officers in other hospitals. And also read the compliance monitors. I've shown you where to find them. You will find them in the link on the first slide of the presentation once it's uploaded. Read those compliance monitors and see how well your region is doing. And finally, it's very close to me that I would like to say to you that you can be proud. You can be absolutely proud that you have been selected to get involved in this. It is a project that is a first in Nigeria, and it is a project that has the best chances of effecting change, because data, when it comes to obstetrics and gynecology, are generally better than data concerning other aspects of medical care. So be proud to be involved in this. And it doesn't really matter who you are. If you are a medical record officer, you can always say, I'm proud to help saving lives at my hospital just by keeping my databases up to date and just by preparing those pieces of paper for the MPDSR committee. If you are a monitoring and evaluation officer, you too can be proud because you can do something for your community. You can say, I'm proud to enable better maternal child health care in all of our communities. And if you're a state statistician, you can also be proud because you can do something for the hospitals. You can say, I'm proud to help raising standards of equipment and hygiene for all hospitals in our state. And for all your engagement, whether you're MROs, M&E officers, or state statisticians, in the name of the Federal Ministry of Health, in the name of the state ministries of health, the local government areas, and especially the RMCH office in Abuja, I take this opportunity to thank you all for your engagement, for your commendable engagement. And this ends my presentation. It's back over to me. Here I am, still sitting in my little room where I compile this presentation for you, sitting here in the cold Germany in Munich. And I wish you the best of success. And I must say, I look forward very, very much to the next imminent visit when our team and I will be able to come over, travel over to Nigeria again and meet you again in person and thank you directly in person. Thank you very much for your attention and God bless.